taping person from the school. Any questions? Okay, I'd like to introduce your timekeeper this morning. He's right up front here. This is Officer Davies. He's going to hold the card at 4 minutes, and again at 5. And then we have a judge over here, Nugent. Try out your name here. We have a young lady sitting right up here as the judge. Yes, Vermont Ellen. I'll get that over in Mauritian over here. Any questions? No? All right. Our first speaker this morning is from Career Tech Center. And okay.
Good morning, honorable judges, fellow FFA members, and guests. As he said, my name is Steve Schindler, and I'm representing the Career Line Tech Center AM FFA chapter in the extemporaneous public speaking contest. The topic I chose to research previous to today was natural resources and environmental stewardship. And the question I will be answering for you today is, should homeowners in Michigan be licensed to purchase and apply pesticides in the same manner that is required for ag producers? Honorable timekeeper, I'm ready to begin. In the middle of this harsh, brutal Michigan winter, let's take a second to go somewhere else. Let's go 4th of July weekend in Michigan. It's 80 degrees out. You're in the backyard with all your friends, feet in the nice, lush, green grass. As you're hanging out with your friends, you're watching a nice trout stream flow by. But all of a sudden, something doesn't quite seem right. When you take a closer look, you notice that that trout stream is filled with dead trout floating downstream. This is never a good sign, but sadly it happens more and more. The reason for this is due to a neighboring house upstream using too much fertilizer on their lawn. When the fertilizers wash into the water, they can poison not only trout streams, but wetlands, lakes, and rivers. This is becoming a larger and larger problem with an ever-growing population, and we need to do something to change it. The first problem with this, allowing homeowners to use pesticides freely, is overusage. Did you know that the average homeowner will use 10 times as much fertilizer as the average ag producer will per acre? When farmers go out to the field and apply their fertilizers, they're usually fertilizing hundreds of acres, and fertilizer isn't cheap. Therefore, farmers will use as little fertilizer as possible to get the job done. They also use cutting-edge techniques such as soil testing and GPS fertilizer application. This allows them to put only the necessary fertilizers in the necessary spots and prevent overusage, and also prevent it from contaminating groundwater and surface water. When a homeowner uses fertilizer, oftentimes they go to the store, buy a 50-pound bag, and spread the whole thing on their lawn because they don't want an open bag of fertilizer laying around. They don't take time to read the instructions on exactly how much they should use, and a lot of times they don't even know if their lawn needs those exact fertilizers. The next problem that we have is improper handling. Ag producers have to get licensed to use certain pesticides and fertilizers. To do this, they must pass rigorous courses that teach them how to properly handle that fertilizer and what types of PPE to use, or personal protection equipment. They are required to store the fertilizer or chemical in a specified bin that's inspected, and they have to use specific certified equipment to spread it. Homeowners is not the same case. Oftentimes, they don't use the proper PPEs and they mishandle it. They also misstore it by simply placing it in their shed or placing it out in the garage. The problem with this is that, first, it can hurt the homeowner severely. A lot of newer fertilizers and pesticides are extremely strong, and if you don't wear the proper protection, you can get hurt. The next problem is that improper storage can lead to spills contaminating the lawn, or even waterways. The final problem is, like I said, water contamination. This is due to both overuse and, as I said, mishandling. With an ever-growing population expected to reach 9 billion, urban areas are growing larger and larger by the day. More and more people are going to be using fertilizers, and more water will get contaminated. So, the good news is that trout stream is going to recover rather quickly. In a couple weeks, you'll never notice that it happened. But if we don't change the laws and make it so that homeowners must be licensed, that same exact thing will happen the next time somebody uses fertilizer. We must stop the overuse, the mishandling, and the water contamination. Otherwise, we'll be looking for water for the next generation. Mr. Timekeeper, that concludes my speech. I will now entertain any questions.
What process do you have to go through to license homeowners?
Basically, the same process can be used as what is used for the ag producers. So if they want to buy specific fertilizers, they need to go through a training course, which teaches them for that fertilizer or that group of fertilizers how to handle it, how much to use, when it should be used, and then there's usually a test at the end, and if they pass that, then they can be licensed to use the product.
What could be either the farming community, the governmental community, or even our public community do to make consumers or homeowners more aware of the potential hazards of using pesticides or fertilizers? I don't think many of them understand what they're encountering.
Yeah, that's extremely true. A lot of homeowners don't understand what they're doing. So what we need to do as FFA members and members of the ag community is simply teach them exactly what they're doing to the environment. If they're shown how their little fertilizer spill can kill hundreds of trout, they'll change their ways. So the main thing is just education, getting out there and showing them what's happening.
Are there some types of fertilizers that you wouldn't license that are less hazardous?
I think that's a very controversial area because, as you said, there is fertilizers that are a lot less potent, but the problem is that what will happen, what I see happening, is that the less potent fertilizers will be used way more than what they should. So I think if we're going to do it, we just need to make it a level playing field and say everything needs to be licensed. Otherwise, they'll take that less potent fertilizer and use it 20 times as much instead of 10 times as much as they should.
How expensive is the license and how much time would it take for a homeowner to complete it?
I guess that is kind of up for debate still, but generally in the ag industry, it is just simply a couple-hour training session, and it's fairly cheap, under $100. Now for homeowners, obviously it wouldn't seem as worth it to them if it's for $100, so it could be even cheaper. And like I said, just a couple-hour training session is all.
Who would monitor, what group does those trainings?
The people that monitor it now for ag producers is the Department of Environmental Quality, and they do a lot with water testing and making sure they're following the procedures. This is for the ag community, and they also do all the, if they have a chemical spill, they go out there and they make sure it gets cleaned up. So it would be the same, the Department of Environmental Quality.
So a media campaign to inform the public would be quite costly. What do you think the onus should be on in terms of getting the word out to consumers? Should it be the government? Should it be the people, the fertilizer companies that are selling it? Who do you think that responsibility lies on?
I think it's extremely easy to put the responsibility on somebody else, but I think it's our responsibility as educated members of the ag community to teach our neighbors and our coworkers, the people that we live right next to, exactly what they're doing and what they need to be done. So I think it needs to be put in our hands, and we need to take a step to help solve the problem. homeowners will most likely not be very happy about it, in all honesty. I mean, nobody likes it when we're told that we have to now get a license to do something and we have to pay to do it. I think the solution to that is that a lot of homeowners have companies that mow their lawn, and if those companies get licensed, then you go from 100 homeowners needing licenses to one company that's licensed and that can do it for you.
What might be an example of an educational program that FFA members could get involved in or start within their career center or whatever that gets that message out to just your local community?
I think one thing that we do at our school is we do a water unit in which we go out and we study water tables and watersheds, and we do a lot of testing. And I think by that, it teaches us exactly what happens, and then we go home and we tell our parents what we learned.
Time.
Thank you.
Let's give Steve a round of applause.